the relationship between media and law enforcement has its ups and downs, and sometimes it's hard to, with some people we work great with, other people it's all over the place, but I realize how critical a position it is, and in all those years I've been here, Dwight by far has been the best. Yeah. And we do need to be open. This is a public office here to work and do our job with the public. It's like I've always said, good, bad, or indifferent for me. If there's feisty questions that I need to answer about anything, I'll get up there and answer them. If we make a mistake, we make a mistake. Yeah. We're human, but that's the position we're in. We're going to be as transparent as we can be. And
sometimes your officers get called out for things other than just traffic stops and DUIs and illegal immigrants, and probably one of the most difficult ones, well, there were probably two in recent memory, and one was the Sweat Lodge incident.
Right.
And then the other one was the case of the missing children.
Yep. That was really tough. Those kids, I was on both of them personally. Very, very tragic. The one, and of course it's still under investigation out of the Beaver Creek area, so I can't get into details, but we have charges against the alleged adopted mother and the grandmother.
And they remain in custody.
And they are still in custody, so that's being handled criminally. We do not believe that child walked away. The other one was a very, very tragic case of that boy did walk away. He had walked away, before, at least a couple other times. I was one of the ones who actually tracked him to where we found him. I believe he had gotten there that evening. He had walked away around 2 in the afternoon. I believe by dark he had perished in that pond.
Was there some sort of a chemical component to that, or did anybody ever find out?
Well, it was mine tailings, so it was a mine tailing pond. You could tell it wasn't ordinary water, but it was really knee-deep mud, and it was a yellowy kind of color to it with mossy, and I saw his little footprints go in there, and they didn't come out, and it was very, very sad.
I remember there was a criticism that perhaps you didn't bring in enough volunteers to help find him. Would that have made any difference to you?
No, and I personally looked into that, Lynn, and what I found was, number one, we don't want to turn anybody away. We want, as a matter of fact, what was so ironic about that was I was getting with our dispatch center, asking them to do a reverse 911 call to that whole area, to every home in that area, asking them to come out and look. I did that twice. It's a recorded message. We can circle an area on a map and say we want every home in this area called. And the message I gave out, which I wrote to give out, was basically, we have a lost child who has walked away. Please come out and look. Look in your yard, look in your cars, look in the neighborhoods. At the same time, what was reported to have occurred was people were coming up toward the command post where there was some volunteers stopping the media and other people who didn't need to be there come in, and people were saying, hey, we're here to help, and they said, well, we got enough, you can go home. And I think they took that upon themselves to do that, because at the command post we were getting calls from neighborhoods and we were saying, yeah, do this, do that. So yes, did it happen? We had to not everybody, but part of the community was who actually found the footprints and called us and said, we came out to look like we wanted, we found the footprints, here they are. I rushed over there with some other trackers, which I track, and so did these other guys. Within an hour we found him. It was just a matter of finding, and it rained the afternoon he left. And so we had his little footprints in the mud, and so I knew these were from that night, because it hadn't rained since. So I knew he walked into that pond. That was the evidence I had to tell me he probably made it from the house to that pond by dark, and that's why we couldn't find him with the helicopter.
Yeah.
We had helicopters up with the infrared. We found coyotes, deer, you name it, we found it. But he gotten into the water, which didn't give off that heat. And it was such a tragic thing.
And accidents happen.
Yeah.
Know? I mean,
We were sick. I mean, we were sick. We were absolutely sick over that. And then when I heard we turned some people away, I went in and looked into it myself and said, that will never happen again. Yeah.
And we did have a lot of people on the perimeter searching.
Yeah.
Because at the media command post, we had people all around searching outside the perimeter, but they were helping, and they wanted just to be a part of trying to find them.
At any one time, I would say we had 300 plus people out there, and many of them were volunteers from that area. So the few that got turned away, I don't know how many, but it wasn't a majority by any means, because on the other hand, like I said, we're calling everybody, telling them to come out and help.
Now let's talk about the sweat lodge thing pretty quick. And that must have been a difficult thing. And was the sheriff's office in charge? You know, when they arrived, they were in charge of the incident, I take it.
Right.
And had you ever seen anything like that before?
No, and I got to be careful what I say, because it's obviously there's still some judicial proceedings. But no, you know, it was one of those deals that in law enforcement you deal with anything imaginable. You know, I think, gee, this thing's never going to get topped, and one day, you know, you go, oh my gosh. And this was kind of one of those things. It was like it initially came in, we thought it was a mass suicide or something. Yeah. And again, it was just something that I'd never seen before, and it was kind of...
So, do you stand behind your deputy's investigation? And
oh, absolutely, absolutely. Those, you know, I'm very proud of our investigators on that case. Again, all they're trying to do, they didn't do anything wrong at all. All they're trying to do is pull the facts together. You know, other people try to make it look like it was chaos and they didn't know what they were doing. They were very systematic. They were very matter of fact, and I think they did a great job. And it's somebody else's job to say they didn't.
Right.
But I think they did very well. Our investigators are very well trained. They have proper equipment. They get all the resource and support from me I can give them, not just on that case, but many cases. And, you know, then you just do the best you can with what facts you have and with what evidence, and you move ahead. Then it's in the hands of a jury. And with defense and prosecution, and we just try to present it as systematically and organized as we can.
Right, and everything was done by the book as far as the investigation goes?
I think so. I think they did a really good job. I know that there was a conviction, but I know there's still some proceedings pending, so I have to be careful not to jeopardize the defendant's rights or anything.
Okay, anything else you want to add?
No, I'm just excited that that I'm here. You know, like I said, my goal always was one day, you know, I think, gosh, I started as a volunteer, now here I am, and it still hasn't quite sank in. You know, it is just an appointment. I realize it's in the interim, but I'm hoping that, you know, I can get the support with the communities and the public to make this happen again next year at election time. I'm excited to give that a shot and go through that system.
What about if people have questions of you or suggestions or something? How do you feel about you know, outsiders just giving you ideas?
Well, I'm totally open. As a matter of fact, if you go to our website, Kathy has already put out on our website, if you want me to come talk at your community neighborhood meetings or community meetings, good, bad, and different, I'm there. Because one of the things I have found is that Dwight will put together the statistics of what's happened in that neighborhood, and I'll go there and I'll say your problems are this, and they'll say, no, it isn't, it's barking dogs and speeders. And I'll go, man, I'm way off. And so what I have found, that the more I go talk to the communities that want me there, I find what the problem they perceive is. So if they want me to come to those meetings, I've done it many times. I'm happy to go do it and identify what they perceive as the problem. I'm totally open to it, and I get a lot of input on what we could do better. One of the biggest issues, and we've always had it, is response time. The county is so big. And I just personally drove to Sedona on a home invasion. It took me an hour and 20 minutes to get there. Of course, the deputies, I got there and the neighbors were saying, it took an hour for the deputies to get. Well, I pulled the radio log and it was 21 minutes. And I realized that, sometimes you see it as being longer, but for as big as the county is and for where the deputy was, 21 minutes wasn't that bad. I mean, I wished we could have everyone 5 minutes or 10, but we're so big, it's so hard.
Yeah.
And that is part of living in such a big county. But I get that one a lot, is response time. And but I tell you, our deputies do, in some cases, risk their own lives driving as fast as they can to get there, because it is an exigent life situation. And we're going to have that helicopter soon, hopefully, which is exciting. And it's not costing the taxpayer anything right now. That's all from drug seized money and a grant that we're going to operate that from.
Wow. So are you flying it?
No. I wish. I do get that a lot. But no, I'm not flying it.
I'm sure you'll go for a ride.
I will go for a ride, and I would like to do a nice media thing on that when we get it, because when you have cases like, the young child walking away, DPS has cut their helicopter in half. Well, we'll have one available within minutes now. We'll still ask DPS to help, and we'll have two up. We'll segregate them to certain areas. But it'll be so much more readily available for us in those kind of situations. So that's what's nice about that.
What about reporting crimes and stuff like that? I mean, obviously, you want people to report crimes, and they shouldn't be afraid.
No.
Whether they're immigrants or not,
Right,
I would assume.
right.
Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct, and it's sad to say the information we have gotten is some of the illegals are frightened to report it because they may end up getting deported. So they deal with it, and the criminals know that. That's why they're preying on them, and they're illegals themselves. But you got to do what's right, and if something's happening to people, you got to turn them in, the information in, and our silent witness does a lot of that. People can call silent witness, remain completely anonymous, and so that's an avenue for those folks to take. At least it tells us the violence, what's going on, where it is. We want to identify that. We want to go deal with those issues. We don't want it to be happening out there to whoever it's happening to. So absolutely it needs to